Welcome back. Welcome back to Neural Chatter. I'm Nova.
And I'm Leo. And wow, do we have an interesting, maybe even surprising topic for you all today. I mean, Nova, when you first mentioned this, I was like, wait, really?
Right? It's pretty wild. We're talking about something called AI veganism.
Yeah, AI veganism. And no, we're not talking about robots eating kale, although that's an image. What we mean is this is a growing movement, a pretty radical stand, actually, of people who are just straight up refusing to use AI at all.
Exactly. It's this kind of quiet rebellion, in a world where AI is everywhere, writing emails, picking our music, even driving our cars. There are folks out there saying, nope, not for me.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Just imagine trying to navigate modern life completely AI-free. It's almost, dare I say, countercultural.
Totally. And it's not just a fringe idea anymore. We're going to dive deep into why this movement, this ethical statement, as they call it, is gaining traction. Why are thousands, maybe even more, actually quitting artificial intelligence? Stick around because you might just find yourself nodding along or maybe shaking your head. Either way, it's going to be a thought provoker.
So, Nova, we've introduced the concept of AI veganism, but let's really dig into what it is. I mean, beyond just saying no to AI, what does that actually look like in practice?
That's a great question, Leo. At its core, AI veganism is it's a philosophy, really, and a practice, as they say, that completely rejects the use of AI in daily life, in business, even in creativity.
Wow. So we're not just talking about, like, avoiding ChatGPT for writing emails, right? It's much deeper than that.
Oh, it's way deeper. They're avoiding things like recommendation algorithms on YouTube or Spotify, which, let's be honest, most of us use every day. They're steering clear of AI-generated news summaries, translations, productivity tools.
Hold on, so no Google Translate, no, like, smart assistants in your home? That sounds, well, intense.
Exactly. And it even extends to products developed with AI-assisted design or decision-making. The whole point, the core idea for them is to preserve human skill, agency, and authenticity in a world that's, well, becoming increasingly run by machines. That's their big push.
Preserve human skill, agency, authenticity. I can definitely see the appeal of that. But what specifically are they worried about losing? Like, what's the actual fear here?
Well, one of the biggest reasons, the first one they often cite, is this fear of protecting human skills. Think about it. AI can write code, it can design logos, it can even compose music now.
Yeah, I've seen some incredible AI-generated art, and I mean, even some pretty convincing text.
Exactly. But if we, just let it do everything for us, the AI vegans ask, are we going to lose our own ability to think creatively, to solve problems deeply, to even learn effectively? They really believe that over-reliance on AI is just going to, well, erode our essential human talents. It's like, we'll get rusty.
So it's not just about not using AI, it's about not letting it make us less capable.
That makes sense. But then there's the second big point, which I've seen pop up in the news a lot lately, ethics and exploitation. This is where it gets pretty contentious, right?
Oh, incredibly contentious, Leo. This is about how these large AI models are trained. We're talking about scraping billions of images, videos, texts from the internet, often without consent.
Right, I've heard about that. Like artists finding their styles replicated or writers' entire bodies of work being ingested without a by your leave.
Precisely. Many AI vegans see this as, quite literally, intellectual property theft on a massive scale. It's not just about what the AI does, but how it learns and where its knowledge base comes from. They're saying, hey, you're building this powerful tech on the backs of other people's creations, often without any compensation or even asking.
It's a fundamental question of fairness, isn't it? So it's not just about preserving our own skills, but also about the ethical origins of the very tools we're being asked to adopt. That's a pretty heavy moral burden to carry for a lot of people.
Right, it is. And that leads us right into two other huge areas of concern for AI vegans: the environmental footprint and, of course, privacy.
Ah, the environmental impact. I've heard some pretty staggering numbers floating around about how much energy these things consume.
Oh, they do. It's truly immense. We're talking about AI systems requiring, like, enormous amounts of energy and water just to run and cool these massive data centers. I mean, one large model training session, just one, can reportedly consume as much electricity as hundreds of homes in an entire year.
Hundreds of homes. Wow. So it's not just about the digital realm. There's a very real, tangible, physical cost to this technology. That's not something I think most people consider when they're, chatting with an AI or using a recommendation engine.
Exactly. It's this hidden cost. And that leads us to the fourth big reason, which is privacy and autonomy. Many AI tools, as we know, are built by these tech giants whose entire business models are, well, frankly, dependent on data collection. Our data.
Oh, absolutely. Every click, every search, every purchase. It's all being fed into something.
And AI vegans are they're intensely wary of that. They want to avoid becoming, a raw source of behavioral data for these profit-driven algorithms. It's about maintaining their digital sovereignty, if you will.
So it's not just about ethical training data on the input side. It's about not being the input on the output side either. They don't want their personal lives, their habits, their preferences to be like the fuel for the AI economy.
Precisely. It's a comprehensive rejection of that entire ecosystem, from creation to consumption, when it comes to AI. It's about opting out of the machine in multiple senses.
So if they're rejecting this entire ecosystem, from the environmental impact to privacy concerns, how do they actually do it? I mean, being an AI vegan in today's world, that sounds incredibly difficult. AI is like everywhere.
It really is. And you're right, it's not easy. AI is, as the document says, is baked into almost every modern service. But adherents really try to live by a few core principles. One of the big ones is choosing manual over smart.
Manual over smart, so like actually reading a physical map instead of using Google Maps.
Exactly. Or think about it. Using old school cameras instead of, your AI-enhanced smartphone camera. Or preferring physical newspapers, actually holding the paper, rather than scrolling through algorithmic news feeds that are tailored to you.
Wow, that's a commitment. I mean, my phone practically thinks for me these days when it comes to photos. So it's about actively opting out of those automated, personalized experiences.
Precisely. And it extends to things like supporting human-only art and media. They'll go out of their way to buy from artists and musicians who explicitly pledge not to use AI in their work. It's a way to bolster human creativity directly.
That makes a lot of sense, given their concerns about AI eroding human talent. And what about, like, social interaction? Do they just avoid the internet entirely?
Not entirely, but they definitely lean towards avoiding algorithmic platforms. So they favor chronological feeds, smaller, more intimate forums, and perhaps most importantly, face-to-face communities. It's about escaping those echo chambers and, the manipulative aspects of algorithmic curation.
So instead of a TikTok feed that knows exactly what you'll scroll through next, they're probably on like an old school forum board or even just meeting up with people in person to talk about things.
Yeah, that's the vibe. And the other part of it is they actually educate others. They're hosting discussions, they're writing blogs, they're speaking out about the long-term risks of AI dependence. It's a movement that isn't just about personal choice, it's about raising awareness.
So it's not just a personal lifestyle choice, it's also like an advocacy position. They're trying to get others to think differently, too. So they're really committed to this, Nova. But, as someone who pretty much relies on AI for, like, everything from my morning commute to, figuring out dinner, I have to ask, Is this even practical? Like, what are the criticisms against this movement?
Oh, absolutely, Leo. That's the big question, right? Not everyone is convinced AI veganism is realistic or even, helpful. The document brings up some really good points on that.
Yeah, because my immediate thought is, if I can't use online maps, how do I get anywhere efficiently? Or what about, like, fraud detection, which uses AI pretty heavily?
Exactly. That's one of the main criticisms, practicality. Avoiding AI entirely means rejecting basic conveniences that, honestly, most of us just take for granted now. Online maps, as you said, fraud detection, even modern photo editing on your phone. A lot of that has AI baked in. It's like, can you really live without that in 2024?
I guess it depends on your definition of living, right? It sounds almost, I don't know, a bit extreme, maybe? Like refusing electricity in the 20th century.
That's another criticism the document highlights: progress resistance. Some argue it's an idealistic but ultimately futile stand. They liken it to, refusing electricity back when it was becoming widespread. It's like AI is the defining technology of our time, and trying to opt out entirely is seen as by some as just unrealistic.
So the argument is you're not just making your own life harder, but you're also potentially hindering broader societal progress?
Precisely. And that leads to the lost opportunities perspective. Critics argue that AI actually can help solve critical problems. Think about it. In medicine, climate science, education, rejecting AI outright might actually slow down beneficial innovation that could improve countless lives.
That's a strong counterpoint. It's not just about personal preference, but also about the collective good that AI could enable, if leveraged responsibly. So, on one hand, you have the AI vegans saying, we need to preserve human skill and agency, and on the other, you have people saying, but look at the breakthroughs we could miss.
Exactly. It really frames AI veganism not just as a personal choice, but as a philosophical debate about where humanity should be heading with technology.
Exactly. It really frames AI veganism not just as a personal choice, but as a philosophical debate about where humanity should be heading with technology, which, brings us to our next point, Nova. Why is this movement, AI veganism, really gaining traction now? Because it feels like something that's always been simmering, but suddenly it's in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's a great question, Leo. The document actually points out that while AI veganism has existed quietly for a few years, 2025 is really kind of seen as a tipping point. And I think that makes a lot of sense when you look at what's happening around us.
A tipping point, huh? So what's like the big catalyst here?
Well, first off, there's been this mass adoption of AI, right? I mean, it's gone from personal devices to, honestly, national governments. AI has just become, dare I say, unavoidable in so many aspects of our lives. It's just everywhere, so people are noticing it more.
Right. It's not just a niche tech thing anymore. It's mainstream.
Precisely. And then there's the darker side of it, too. We've seen a huge rise in AI deepfakes, all these copyright lawsuits that are popping up, and, even political manipulation fueled by AI. All of that has really sparked a kind of mainstream distrust. People are starting to ask, wait, what's really going on here?
Yeah, the deepfake stuff especially has been pretty alarming. It definitely makes you question what's real and what's not.
Exactly. And then there's also this growing cultural backlash against tech companies that are, perceived as monopolizing human creativity. Artists, writers, musicians, they're all feeling this pressure and they're pushing back. It's this feeling of, is AI just going to take over everything creative we do?
So it's a combination of AI becoming ubiquitous, the ethical concerns really coming to a head, and this broader distrust of big tech. It all funnels into this core philosophical question that AI veganism really forces us to confront. Just because AI can do something, should it?
Bingo, Leo. That's the heart of it. It's not just about what's technically possible anymore. It's about what's right. And whether you agree with AI vegans or not, they serve as this really powerful reminder that technological progress isn't just about capability. It's about conscience.
It really makes you pause and think about your own relationship with technology, doesn't it? How much control are you willing to hand over to these machines, really?
Exactly. I think that's the real crux of it all. AI, it's undeniably the defining technology of the 21st century, isn't it? Like, it's shaping how we work, how we create, how we interact.
Yeah, absolutely. And, movements like AI veganism, they're not just some fringe idea. They're actually really crucial in keeping that conversation going. They force us to keep asking, okay, where do we draw the line here?
Right. It's not about whether you personally become an AI vegan or not, because for many that's just not practical or even desired. But I think the most important part of this whole discussion, what we've been talking about today, is that it makes you stop. It makes you really think about, like, how much control you're truly willing to hand over to machines and what that means for us as humans.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to put it, Nova. It's about awareness and making informed choices, even if those choices are just to, use AI responsibly. And on that note, that brings us to the end of another episode of Neural Chatter.
It does. Thank you all so much for tuning in and, joining us on this really fascinating exploration of AI veganism. It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too, Nova. Always a pleasure. We hope you'll join us next time for more deep dives into the world of artificial intelligence and its impact on us all. From Nova and myself, Leo, thanks for listening.
Goodbye, everyone.